Check, check. Get going here shortly, folks. Just waiting for the stream to pick up here. Some red-headed stranger. Hey, Higby, you're early. We go on here in just a second. Just got to get these links put up. Hope everybody had a good Memorial Day weekend. All right. All right, there we go. All right, tonight we're going to do a couple things. Try not to go too late, but I got Visions of the Hawk recently from Eric Roper. If you guys aren't familiar, Eric Roper is a illustrator, artist. He is most well known for his work with a lot of heavy metal bands. Most famously, Sleep's Dope Smoker album. He did the album cover art for that. I've been a big fan of his stuff for a long time, and so when they announced this art book, I was very excited. So I pre-ordered it, and it's finally here. And it looks absolutely amazing. So I just wanted to do a quick flip through and show you guys some cool stuff that's in here. I encourage you to go check out Eric's work if you've never seen it, but also if you're already a fan of his, I would recommend this book very much. So my Memorial Day was good. Thanks for asking. Had a nice chill day with my family, which was nice. A little picnic in the park, some time at the playground. It was a good time. So usually I put my table flat for this, but unfortunately I'm going to draw tonight, so I don't want to do all that. So I haven't finished reading it all yet, but this book is stacked with some just awesome Eric Roper imagery. He works in a lot of paint, like water-based paints with inks. He does some awesome logo work. I'm pretty sure he's doing a lot of the logo work here. A lot of sci-fi stuff. And the book covers, a lot of his career, kind of from early on up until his current stuff. It sort of jumps around a little bit, which is interesting, but it's got stuff written by people who know him, people who are patrons of his, people who are bands he's worked with, and stuff written by himself. This is for Earth's Bees Made Honey from the Lion's Skull, a really great album, great art. But as you can see, there's lots of the paintings he's done in here. It does have some drawings and stuff too. It shows some prep sketches here and there for different projects that he's done. He did some stuff for Mondo, like this 2000. Or this is actually a private commission, but he did do some stuff for Mondo, like poster prints. His stuff's got that vibe where it's, you could call it sort of heavy metal, sci-fi influenced kind of stoner art, I guess. But I can't say that fully encompasses what I think when I see his work. I think there's a lot of deeper spiritual connection going on and really smart choices that he makes. The work is always very direct, but also very mysterious. And so there's a lot of times when, the image kind of strikes you initially, but then you spend some time with it, and the composition and the color choices and stuff really kind of, I don't know, they're fun to meditate on. He did a lot of stuff for High on Fire, a really awesome band. some of his prep sketches in here. There's some really cool stuff there. I was marking my page. Came with a little print card, which is pretty neat, of a Weedian. But again, I mean, this book, I can't remember how much it was exactly, but it was not very much for what you get. It's just packed full of illustrations, as you can see, and text, and really learn a bunch of stuff about an artist that I think is sort of big within certain audiences. Like if you're a metal person or a sci-fi art person, you probably know his work, but I do think that it warrants a deeper dive. So anyway, that's some Eric Roper stuff. Highly recommend the book. Again, it's called Visions of the Hawk: The Art of Eric Moonhawk Roper. And I got first familiar with Eric's work because I was a big fan of the Dope Smoker album, and when they did the re-release, he had done this really nice painting for it, and he'd done some other work for bands I like. But man, oh man, I fell in love with everything about it, and then the more I learned about his work, the more I dug it. And I actually have done 2 books sort of inspired also by the music of Sleep and partially by the imagery of Eric Roper, called Weed Priests and Ascend, which are both in my web store. Actually, Ascend's not yet. I will have it for the first time this weekend at Cake Chicago. So if you guys are in the Chicagoland area and you can come out to Cake Chicago, it's going to be an awesome show. Oh, and by the way, welcome Stinker Buns. Thanks for showing up. But yeah, Cake Chicago is this weekend, Center on Halstead, Saturday and Sunday, 11 to 5, or 11 to 6 and 11 to 5, I believe, both days. I'm also an organizer of the show, so I really would like, other than coming to see me and get my new books, we really pack the show with a lot of awesome artists. Every year that I've been to Cake, I always discover somebody I've never seen before who I immediately fall in love with their work. So definitely recommend coming down to the show. That'll be the first show I have those reprints of Weed Priests and Ascend at, because those have been out of stock for a minute. But anyway, what we're going to do tonight is we are going to ink another character from my upcoming Image comic, the Schlub, coming from Image this August. So it is available for pre-order now. So go to your shops, man. Tell your guys, your girls, whoever's running your shop, that you want it, and put it on your pull list, because the only way comics sell is if people tell us in advance. This is a weird system, but some shops will probably get them no matter what because it's an Image #1. But if you pre-ordered it, it helps us, and you're gonna love it. So yeah, I'm just gonna knock this in. So this is the villain, I guess you'd say, of the Schlub. So villains are a blast. And this guy's name is Worm, with a Y. And this is a design I'm really happy with. And every time I get to draw Worm in one of the scripts, I'm so pumped, because he is a super fun character to draw. More Schlub, that's right. We're going to keep talking Schlub for a while now. I'm very excited about the book, and I'm right now almost finished with issue 5. So, and I can tell you guys, I mean, I can't tell you much, but what I can tell you is that this book is awesome. It's really awesome. I feel like if you've been looking for a book to be excited about again, the Schlub is probably it. We really bring that energy, I feel like, that has been lacking in some comics lately, where, we know what we are, but we still take it seriously, and we have a good time while still being, I think, smart with some cool storytelling and great characters. And one of them is this guy right here, Schlub. Worm. He's got this magic sort of thing going on, but also kind of techy. We're kind of leaving a lot of that mysterious, but the look itself is one that I've always liked, kind of the opposites in villains. So our hero, Cirrus, is very huge and meaty and big, the classic guy. And then so I wanted to go with something a little more slim and spidery and spindly for Worm. It's pretty obvious like to do that, but at the same time, it's classic. You know, it's total classic. Kind of different power sets that are sort of opposite of each other. Influence on Worm's design. That's a good question. I think I mentioned this on another stream, but I feel like this character just kind of came out so easily from me. Like I just saw him, you know. I made maybe 3 or 4 iterations that were all basically the same, but changed his costume and his face a little bit. But it was like it just clicked. So it's like it's weird because I feel like with Cirrus, I went through so much like research on superhero costumes and the way different artists draw things and stuff to kind of come to that. But this one felt like it came out really easy. So I'm trying to think. I guess one would be stuff like the Immortan Joe, probably a little bit. Maybe a little General Grievous, you know? I think that sounds funny because everyone hates that character. But he was so badass in the Gendy Tartakovsky cartoons, man. Grievous was awesome. But, you know, this sort of, maybe he's got this mask, so that he's maybe infirmed in some way. It's sort of vague, right? But you get the sense that, you know, this is a powerful guy, but also a guy who might be fragile in some ways. So that was sort of my influence, I guess. Oh, thanks. I'm glad you're getting rejuvenated. And yes, thank you for putting the Schlub on your poll list, man. It makes a huge difference, and this is a huge lifelong dream for me to be doing something like this. And so I would really love it if people bought it, you know. But also, I just think it's a cool comic, you know. I don't work on projects that I'm not into. You know, I learned my lesson a long time ago that's going to really suck. So you know, as much as, you know, sometimes it comes down to money, but at the same time, like, I'm not going to take a project that I don't find interesting or cool. So this is another one that I earnestly think is a fun idea and the kind of comic that I would like to read. Something that's a little throwback, a little bit different energy. So the other fun thing about Worm is that he's got all these cool tubes and stuff all over him, and that this is literally like this came out of me really easily, and I guess I come up with justifications for different design elements. But I mean, at the end of the day, I just think it's fun to have snaky shapes around characters, you know, and get to play with sort of depth and composition by using these tubes and kind of different suit elements. I make his fingers really long and his like appendages really long. And then as I've drawn him more, I keep exaggerating different aspects of sort of his body or things like that. It's sort of fun that characters get to grow a little bit as you draw them. You know, you kind of find them, but then also like they sort of inform you of what they would want or do. You know, it sounds kind of weird, but they don't feel finished right away. It feels more like when you start on a book with a character, you're sort of on this journey with them, and they sort of grow up and mature as you draw them more. Alright. He's also got these, actually just forgot to ink this one. These rings around his wrists. That part of him was definitely influenced by my kind of love of old kung fu movies. And I always liked those dudes that had the the rings and stuff. I think most recently people think of like Kung Fu Hustle, but there, the fighters that had the rings that would have these different impact, they would impact and kind of make the ching sound. And I thought that was so cool. And I thought this guy does magic, so his hands are always doing stuff. So it's cool to have sort of an element that can accentuate that. Yeah, so that's one of the reasons I put these rings on there, is definitely the kind of kung fu fighting look from those old like Shaw Brothers and King Hu kind of old kung fu cinema. That stuff's the best, man. That's what I grew up on. WGN Sunday mornings, they would show kung fu movies and stuff. That was the first place I saw the One-Armed Swordsman and the Five Deadly Venoms and all that stuff. What does Tyrell do to relax? Oh boy. I need to find more ways to relax, if I'm being honest, man. But I watch a lot of bad movies. That's something I really love to do. I also like to listen to podcasts and YouTube videos about like people who believe in like alien conspiracies. I know that's very strange, but I just find it so fascinating. Just the way these people talk about all that stuff. I play video games occasionally. I've been bad lately, but I have been playing a really good game called Carry On, which is sort of this game where you play kind of a monster that is similar to The Thing from John Carpenter's The Thing, and you're attacking these different bases, and it's sort of done in a 16-bit side-scrolling style, and it's real fun. Like, it's real fun to play as this amorphous blob creature that massacres all these scientists and takes over these labs. It's a real neat game. The mechanics are really cool in it too. So those are some things I do. Tonight, after this, one of the reasons I don't want to go too long is I am super stoked for the new season of I Think You Should Leave. So that's another thing I'll do to relax. But yeah, the days and nights are pretty full right now. All day with kids and work, and then more work at night. So, and then I've been planning this convention with my other organizers. They're a really great team we have, and they've been great, but we're all pretty tired because the show's this week, and we're all pretty strung out. So yeah, Tubi's got some on there for sure. Yeah, The Room, that's a good one, Icky. Kind of a classic bad movie. I think I just dragged my hand through some ink again, so we'll see how that turns out. Okay, it's not too bad. Where did I have this one going from? Yeah, see what I mean? All these loopy things everywhere. It's fun, man. Okay, we're gonna give them some darkness here. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, watching bad movies could help improve things like dialogue, sure. It's fun to see people fail, especially when you're a person who makes things too. You sort of have an understanding of that failure's part of it, and so it's kind of kind of fun. Like, I mean, I could admit, looking at my old stuff, there's a lot of failures, you know. Um, and I used to do film stuff. I studied film in school and made some, really bad short films and stuff like that. I like these little. I put these little circle elements too on him. One thing I like to try to do with a design is to have some elements that are sharper, but then also some elements that are rounder, and you know things that have a light and dark balance, so that there's a lot of opportunities to use those to your advantage when you're kind of thinking about lighting or thinking about the mood of a page and how you want to use your balance of light and dark. I'm trying to be a little more efficient with my brush strokes lately. Well, that's not quite what I wanted. Let's see. Yeah, that's better. So what are the comics y'all are reading right now? What are you into? What's on your pull list? Because I need to get back to reading some more comics. I think more current stuff because I have not been. And I mean, actually, I honestly read more stuff. I used to read a lot more stuff that I would just buy directly from artists or at shows, but I've been trying to read a little more mainstream stuff again, just since I have books that will be in that arena. It's nice to know what's up. What's up? What's up? Kaya, yeah, I saw that on the shelf the other day, and I was like, "What's this book? This looks pretty cool." And I was very intrigued. So you recommend it, eh? Kaya. Yeah, the art looked pretty rad in that. Oh, is that Last Ronin good? I have not picked it up yet. That one intrigued me. I've heard good things. There's been some good runs on the Turtles here and there. If I was going to do a turtle, I would love to do a Turtles book. Especially, I was just going to say if it had or if it had, well, Baxter Stockman would be awesome. But then I was thinking Bebop and Rocksteady. But then I was also like, well, yeah, but doing Krang would be a blast too. Nice. I like twists too. So sounds like I gotta check it out. Yeah, see, I'm also trying to not always draw my circles and squares and stuff like perfectly, you know? Maybe funk them up a little bit. It gives them a little more life. So kind of just going a little chunkier lately. The Department of Truth. Cool. That one I'm aware of, but I have not read it yet. Every time I see it, I think of that Depeche Mode song, The Policy of Truth. Is that Depeche Mode? I think it's Depeche Mode. I'm sure it has nothing to do with that, but that's just how my brain works. Oh, Shonen Jump. Yeah, Kenny actually, the writer on Schlub, he had a subscription to the Shonen Jump and said it was pretty cool. It's a lot of content. A lot of, I hate the word content, but it's a lot of you get a lot of bang for your buck. So that's another one if I had the more time, I would read more comics. But I guess you only have time if you take time. So oh, that's way better. I should have done the other side that way. Oh well. Live and learn. Yeah. Oh, cool. Well, I love conspiracies, so that maybe that is up my alley then. I go through phases. I used to watch a lot of like ghost videos and stuff too. Like this, that people put online of like, ooh, there's a ghost in my house, and I don't know, their box of cereal falls over or something. I've got weird tastes, I guess, in that regard. That's nice. That's nice. Yeah. Yeah, manga is it's a dangerous game to play. It's so much, there's just so much manga out there. Um, and if you want to complete a series, I mean, it's an investment of your time and your money. And it's awesome because it's usually great and worth it. I'm not saying people shouldn't. It's just right now in my life with my limited time, I have a hard time like jumping into some of the longer series. But I would like to, I would even like to just reread some stuff that's that are favorites of mine. I did pick up some Fist of the North Stars the other day because I just had to have some of those on hand. It's a story I've read before, but I never had good, I had them in different languages or whatever, in paperback. And then when they did that recent release, I was able to pick up a couple. sale at Barnes and Noble of all places, which is probably the first place I ever saw a, you know, manga. Really, I used to go there, and back then they would have Crying Freeman and Fist of the North Star and stuff that was pretty crazy, you know, to just have out on the shelf. And that's where I discovered those guys. And man, oh man, I was just blown away. You know, like being whatever I was, 17, and picking up Crying Freeman. I mean, my head was about to blow out of my head. It was crazy. I'm not sure about that right there. That's not quite what I wanted. There, but that's better. Give them some veins. Sometimes I put some veins on there. I like that. All right. Let's go ahead and do this. All right. Maybe. Well, let's knock that out. So today, I didn't get I had to go do some stuff for Cake, the show that I've been helping plan with some awesome coordinator or other organizers, and so I didn't get a ton of time. But what I was working on was one of the most insane splash pages I've ever done that Kenny and Ryan wrote for me, and it is, oh boy, it's massive. It feels bigger than 11 by 17 when I look at it, because I'm like, oh boy. But man, I cannot wait for you guys to see it. But it's kind of nice to just do a single figure right now, because that splash has, not to spoil anything, but there's a big shot of a city. And so there's a lot of, just, it was a lot of drawn today. Even though I didn't get as much time, the actual intensity of it felt a little more. All right. So he's got this like backpack thing that sort of is, sci-fi magic engine kind of a thing is the way I think of it. Sort of like if you needed an engine to conjure magic, the way you need a car to drive down the road. So it's kind of fun to draw, because it's another round shape that sort of counterbalances his kind of angular, look that he has. Okay, I think we're going to erase these pencil lines in a second here. Man, we're looking good. Okay, yeah, and I gotta. How do I want to do that? Maybe like this. Oh, what bad movie do I recommend? Well, there's varying degrees of what people can stand. The Room is pretty easy entry into bad movie fare. So if you're familiar with The Room, I would say a good next step would be something like Miami Connection, starring YK Kim, written and directed by YK Kim. I would also say anything by Neil Breen, like Twisted Pair, Fateful Findings is my favorite Neil Breen movie, is also a good bet. Or just about anything made between 87 and 90, 93 with action or ninja or, gun or anything like that in the title. Those are all safe bets as well. So Neil Breen is a good one. And Miami Connection is a personal favorite of mine. There's another little gem that's a little harder to find called Empire of the Dark, which is an adorable little sort of fantasy action film, all written and directed by one guy. So there's a few for you. If you've already seen those, I've got a list. So anybody wants bad movie recommendations, maybe I should just every week maybe I should just give a different bad movie recommendation. Maybe we'll do that. Okay, is this gonna work? Is this gonna work? We'll find out. American Ninja. Well, anything from Canon Films is always a good bet. Canon Films, short-lived but very influential. They would be a good bet. So I can't say you'd go wrong with American Ninja. I mean, you're going wrong by watching it because it's terrible, but that's why you're doing the right thing by watching American Ninja. The more painful, the better. I'm a Canon, so no relation to Golan Globus. Loose. Sorry if anyone's getting seasick. All right, let's fill in some blacks here. Whoops, this is a spot. Worm is also super fun to draw. I think I actually like drawing him a little more than Cirrus, if I'm being honest. But they're all fun to draw. I mean, because Roger is also hilarious. I'm going to do Roger next week, I think. Yeah, Miami Connection. Good stuff, dude. Don't miss out on that one. And if those are too much for you, then you could maybe, go back to something like that's a little more approachable, like the Nicolas Cage Wicker Man or Daredevil starring Ben Affleck. Those are maybe more. Or Catwoman. That's a good one. Catwoman is atrocious. Thank you. Thanks. Thanks for the kind words. Trying to just have fun here. I'm playing a little bit with sort of just solid black areas more in my work, and really enjoying it, and thinking I made the right choice to kind of step more in that direction. Not that there was anything wrong with what I was doing before, but you know, I was a little more of a clean line kind of a style before. I mean, I would use shading or hatching, but not as much solid blacks. So and I hope no one is hearing whatever my wife is watching in the other room. It's very loud. I can hear it. But the other thing I was watching for fun was I finally sat down and watched all of The Good Place. I had never watched it before, and man, oh man, what a great show. Really enjoyed it. So over the last 2 weeks, that was my after work viewing. I'd watch an episode or something. So these up here filled in first, huh? Yeah, Ben Affleck. I don't know how he's been involved in so many superhero movies. It's a little depressing, but whatever. That Daredevil movie's a riot, though, man. I actually saw that on Valentine's Day with a girl I was dating back then. We were both trying to be like, oh, it wasn't so bad, because it was actually, we got in for free, which was awesome. I'm not sure how. It was a radio station or something. I don't know. I got some tickets somehow, and but then we as the night went on, we're like, yeah, that was bad, wasn't it? Because I didn't want her to be mad that it was bad, so I was trying to think it was all right, and I think she wanted it to be didn't want me to think that she hated it, since it was I chose it. But yeah, I always think of that as a Valentine's Day date to see Ben and all those guys. But hey, I'm a romantic guy, Take my dates to Daredevil, starring Ben Affleck. I think she was like, oh yeah, I like Ben Affleck, I'll go to that. Little did she know. Colin Farrell, though, he was hilarious in that. I have made an error, but I will fix it. Okay. Okay. Dragon Ball Evolution, huh? I've never seen that one. I've heard it's pretty terrible. I don't know. It's like for me, I just saw the poster or whatever, and I was like, you can't. This is not Dragon Ball. You know, like Dragon Ball is so much about the style and the exaggeration and all that stuff. It doesn't work with just some 20 somethings in costumes. I don't know. So I never actually dug in and watched it. I guess I should someday. As a true, Dragon Ball fan, you gotta at least try all of the stuff. Okay. So this is close. Losing steam too, so we'll see if we get through this. Alright, let's get these pants on here. This brush has been a good one. I think this is my third Pentel. My first one was incredible. My second one was kind of a dud. I kept it around for way too long because I was like, I just thought that that it was me. But it wasn't me. It was just a bad one. I got a dud. And then I got this one, and it's been pretty good. And the fact that I can talk that much about something that cost me like $14 is kind of cool. Because when I've been burned or gotten a dud of like a real brush, I spent $40-50 on it, and it's kind of like, well, fudge, So I don't know what they're doing. It's working though. There we go. It'll work. Alright, I think I want more black. I think I'm going to do this. We'll see what happens, huh? You guys will catch me if I fall down, right? Let's try. Let's see what happens here. This is a safe space for trying new things. I could go sort of loose with it. Might work. And then after Cake, my next show will be Heroes Con, and I will have those new prints of all my minis there too. So if you've been waiting for stuff out of print, those will be your first two opportunities. And then, assuming I have some left after those two shows, I will put them back up on the website for sale. So I think right now almost all of the first print runs of the ones that I got reprinted are gone. There's like maybe 2 or 3 left. So if any orders come in now, I mean, they'll get the original printings, but after those two shows, the new printings will be up. Because they look nice, and they're all the same form factor now, which is something that makes everything a little easier, I think, for me. And makes the books look really nice next to each other if you store them adjacent. Yeah, I think that'll work. That'll work. I really like working up letters and stuff and doing logos, but another challenge I was doing on some of these was to try to do stuff quick and make quick decisions on the logo stuff to just see what happens if I go a little looser. So it's been kind of fun to see the different results. Sometimes you don't really know what's in there until you sort of just let stuff come out and see what it kind of shakes out to look like. All right. Clean this up a little bit. Need some water. Mouth gets dry when you're talking to yourself. I'll do a little more with this brush here. All right. Mm-hmm. hard. I always struggle to find that balance between like enough and too much. Right now, I think I'm right on the edge. You know, and I believe if everything goes as planned, I'm hoping to offer a few of these size commissions at Heroes. So I'll only do a few because I'll do them at the show, but I will take some 6x9 commissions at Heroes, but only at the show, not for ordering out. Little treat for the folks at the show. And then my next commission list, I'm not sure. I might actually just add the 6x9 as a permanent option because they're really fun. Okay. Sharp, sharp, sharp. Sharpen it up. There's a guy I follow on Instagram that kind of he does commissions and he kind of keeps the same format for all of them. It's a single character on like the same size paper, but he gets so much variety out of it. It's really nice. God, geez, what is his name on Instagram? I think it's like Oh No Sam. It's Sam something. And they're in color, and man, oh man, they're cool. They're so cool. And I've always liked just seeing what you can do with just a figure on a page, or, you know, just the body. There's so much you can play with as far as like the way the person looks, the way the character is standing, the sort of attitude, the lighting. You can add effects, or I don't know. It's kind of a fun way to experiment. I think I also been getting this little more chunky flavor by studying people that are more like that, like Joe Mad and Chris Pacello. Pacello especially really does cool stuff with that. Mignola, of course. Who else have I been looking at lately? All those guys. Oh, and I just borrowed some graffiti books from a pal of mine, Tony, and so stoked to dive into those. They're, you know, I just have had a hard time finding new graffiti books. They don't have them around as much. At least I don't know where I'm gonna get them. So he had a bunch, and he let me borrow them. So I've been excited to dive into those. But that's another thing that I look at a lot when I'm just figuring out sort of what elements I want to play with in my sort of style. I really like these little round disc things on them. It's like one of my favorite things to draw in the costume. Well, guys, I'm skipping. I was really wanting to go to the cattle decapitation show tonight. Cattle Decapitation was playing here in Chicago, and it just didn't work out. Family stuff just had to come first, and I'm gonna be busy all weekend. But that, since I didn't go to the show, that means I got to be here and doing this with y'all, so that's a plus. Because I've been jamming that new Cattle Decapitation record a lot. I got really hooked on them during the pandemic, and really loving all their albums, but the new one, obviously I've been jamming a lot because it's new, so. I think everything from like Monolith of Inhumanity forward is sort of my jam. The older stuff's cool, but I like the more, song structure type stuff they do now, and then the varied vocals and stuff. But metal is, it's my thing, man. I love metal. Metal and rap is like my go-to. Movie soundtracks sometimes, classical music. Okay, I want to keep this loose, so I need to cut myself off here in a minute, because I don't want it to, I kind of want to keep it loose. I'm liking that. Need a little bit of white in here and there. Let's see. Slow power could be a little more powerful. Like that. Alright, let's get some white on there. Okay, I'm just gonna do the brush. Because I'm cleaning up anyway. Well, really quick. Need something here. That's all right. Okay. I think I've said before, I really like working white back into the work when it's appropriate, especially. It's like for just kind of giving some crispness, or pulling things maybe back out that got a little lost. I tend to do stuff that is intentionally kind of busy, and So if I can use some white back into it to sort of just give a little enhancement. And I don't like to do full pencils because then I think the brushwork loses some spontaneity, and so rather than planning out every little tick mark and avoiding it with ink, I like to just go in with the ink and then, you know, cut back in with white to bring out anything that got lost. So this part of the process is always fun. And it always feels like you're really just sort of polishing a little bit. Like you've been carving and carving, penciling and inking and carving, and now you kind of get to polish it off a little bit. And just like get the rough edges away. Not literally, but I still don't feel like I have exactly the sort of little lightning ball effect that I want yet. So I've been trying to mess with it a little bit and see if I can figure it out. Something like that. I think I want it to feel like there's directionality to it, or like depth a little bit. Okay, very close, very close. Yeah, there you go. I feel like I lost something up here in the hands at some point. Better already. So that's another spot. All right. All right. Maybe. I'm thinking that's about it right there. Let's give him my name here. All right. Well, there's Worm from the Schlub coming in August from Image. If you haven't put it on your poll yet, please do. We are very excited about it. It's going to be a blast. I am almost finished with the entire series already, so we will not be late. You guys who can count on reading it every month. This weekend is Cake Chicago. If you can, come by. It is Saturday and Sunday this weekend here in Chicago at the Broadway Armory. Go to cakechicago.com to find out more information. But I will have some new books there. And there's also a bunch of other amazing, talented comic book artists at the show. So if you can make it, please come on down. And then what else? Hey, stay safe out there. Be good to each other. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Have a great night. Enjoy your week.